Hey there, it's Steve from Serious Keto, and this is the beginning of week 4 of January's 30-day challenge, which for me and for a number of you is No Alcohol January. So before I get started, first I want to say that if you have any interest in purchasing any sort of Packer gear or memorabilia, this is a great week to do it. Pretty much all of it is on clearance throughout the state of Wisconsin. And that kind of brings me to another, I guess my first observation that I'm going to share with you in this little video is normally during an evening Packer game, especially a playoff game like we had this weekend, I would have been drinking. But I wasn't because this is my 30-day challenge. And I handled it a lot better. I mean, had I been drinking, I think all of my emotions would have been amplified and I would have been pretty frustrated and distraught with the loss. But instead, I was pretty much just stoic throughout the whole game, and I kind of accepted it. I didn't get real worked up. And that's really kind of been a theme over the entire month. I guess there's been no shortage of situations and events that would have been either frustrating to me or sad or would have made me angry over the course of this month had I been drinking. And I handle everything so much better. I'm so much more even-keeled, and it's good. I feel very in control of me when I'm not drinking. And for my personality type, being in control of me is a big thing. So I've really enjoyed that. Other observations from this month. I made a Costco trip that was probably the least expensive Costco trip I've done in memory because I didn't buy any alcohol. There was no wine. Normally I buy about a case of wine every time I go to Costco, and I don't drink especially cheap wine. I'm not like super expensive wine, but even when you're talking in that $10, $12 a bottle range, you know, you're up in that $100, $150 liquor bill when you go to Costco. And it's been nice entering that receipt into Quicken and seeing it be relatively sane in terms of size. So in terms of temptations this week, and maybe even for me, I think temptation is a little bit of a strong word. There was an instance, I'll call it that, an instance, and it was on the 13th, and it was brief. It was just for a moment. That little voice, I'm not sure which side the voice was on, but that little voice, we'll say it's over here. The little voice said, "Steve, have a glass of wine. No one's going to know." I was at home. I think I was doing some video editing. And very often what I will do when I get done editing a video, sort of my celebration thing would be a glass of wine. Just like, who was the owner of the Boston Celtics back in like 60s, 70s, 80s? Was it Red Auerbach or something like that? Whenever he knew that the Celtics were going to win, he'd light up a cigar. That was his celebration. And for me, whenever I'm putting the end on a big video edit and getting ready to post it, I'd have a glass of wine. And I think that was what happened last Friday. I had that sort of memory, that conditioned response that said, "Steve, a glass of wine would taste pretty good right now." But almost instantly I shut that down, and I found that, and I've mentioned this I think in my transformation video series, I'm a boredom eater, but I'm also, I think, a bit of a boredom drinker. So maybe this can be a helpful tip to some of you. If you're feeling that itch, like, oh, I could really go for a glass of wine or whatever it is, your drink of choice, just find something little, something that will preoccupy you for 5 minutes, a brief chore. Wash some dishes, dust. I think I went and sorted through some of my t-shirts to decide, are there some t-shirts that I don't want to keep anymore? I've got a lot that are extra large, and you know, this is like one of them. It's a little bit baggy on me. So the extra large ones that I was sort of ambivalent about separated. And by the time I was done, 10, 15 minutes later, probably not even 15, 10 minutes later, desire to have any sort of a drink was gone. So there's that. Maybe that'll help you. One final thing I want to cover during this episode, and I'll probably talk about it more throughout the year as I do this series. I was doing a meditation, a guided meditation using the Headspace app, which is sort of my preferred app for those. And the narrator, Andy, talked about being versus becoming. And very often we get too hung up on becoming. What are we trying to become? And I think that's going to be a bit of a theme in this 30-day challenge series is I'm trying to become better. But Andy said you shouldn't think about becoming. Think about being. Enjoy the fact that you are on this journey. Not thinking about the destination. What am I going to be in 30 days? How is this going to change me? But rather where you are right now. And that is improving. That is thinking about taking better care of yourself. That is showing love to your family, friends, whomever, by taking care of yourself. So getting into that, be in the present moment and not thinking too hard about what I'm not, because I haven't become that thing yet. Think about the positive in this moment and what you are and what I am. So hopefully that helps. That's my little philosophical thing for this episode. I have a number of other topics that I'd listed down, but I think that some of them are going to get a little bit, I don't know if I'd say heavy. I think there's some things I might say that freak some people out, maybe trigger them a little bit. And I want to save that for the last episode, just kind of end the month with a punch. So now it's your turn. Whether you're doing the no alcohol challenge or some other challenge, please let me know down in the comments below how things have been going. If you've come up with any sort of tips or tricks or things that you can share that help out other people, I would love to hear it, and I'm sure your fellow viewers would love to read it as well. And if you've had any challenges, things that you think maybe we can give you some help on, perhaps offer some tips and tricks of our own, things that have worked for us, we'll share those. And if you haven't been doing alcohol, which I know a number of you have not, you've been doing other things, I'd like to hear what's working for you. And I'm sure whatever tips or tricks that you might want to share will be applicable to any of us that are trying to give something up or get rid of a bad habit. So I had recorded this video and was in the process of doing the editing and realized that I forgot a very important segment, which is getting prepped for next month's 30-day challenge. I've been wrestling with what I wanted to do, and I wanted to try and do something fairly inclusive. So throughout the year, I'll be looking at physical challenges, I'll be looking at mental challenges, I'll be looking at overall health and behavioral stuff that I can do. And for next month, I was really kind of thinking about doing a 30-day plank challenge. So just planking and seeing how long I can plank by the end of 30 days and what it does for my core. But like I said, I wanted to be a little bit more inclusive, and I know for some people, some of the physical stuff, especially this early on, might be a bit of a turnoff. So what I'm going to do is inspiratory muscular strength training. And I'm going to include an article down in the description below about it. This is some very interesting stuff. Essentially what you do is you take a device like this, you put it in your mouth, and then there's a dial that can control how difficult it makes it to inhale and exhale. And there have been a number of very interesting studies about the impact of this. The University of Arizona, or wait, maybe it was University of Phoenix, they did a study and they found that it improved with sleep apnea. Just, I think, 5 minutes a day of using this thing. Then Colorado University, I think in Boulder, did a more extensive study, and they found that just doing inspiratory muscular strength training for 5 minutes a day was equal to about 30 minutes of aerobic exercise. And that it not only improved systolic blood pressure, but also cognitive function. I also believe, and I'll have to look at the article again, but I believe they said that individuals who are using inspiratory muscular strength training and not doing cardio found that when they returned to cardio after 30 days or 60 days or some period, their actual cardio performance improved. So they went back to doing cardio and were better at it having not done cardio, but just using one of these. So I think, I can pop one of these in and watch a video on YouTube or something like that for 10 minutes or read a chapter of a book. It's really sort of a low intensity type of activity that you can kind of multitask with. So that is going to be my February challenge. I will include a link down below in the description to this one that I have. There's other ones out there, but I think I looked at this one, had good reviews, fairly cheap. So if you want to join me in February, get yourself one of these. And I think that is going to be it now for this video. I can go back to my video editor, get this all wrapped up and posted. Thanks for watching.